This is where we get to the ugly.
Oh, bro. Oh, my God! Oh! The game is literally breaking in real time. Oh, my God! Oh, bro. Oh, no, no, no!
So last week, Sony released Spider-Man 2. And on the Nintendo Switch, Super Mario Wonder came out. And I chose Super Mario Wonder because it looked like more of a fun game than Spider-Man 2. With all the hype that Spider-Man has got, for some reason it didn't interest me. Now I did play the original one and I played Miles Morales. I did enjoy them, but they're very story heavy games. And story heavy games, I've just got a lack of interest in these days. I prefer a video game to be an actual video game rather than a movie. But as you know, PlayStation fanboys have been hyping up this game as the best game of all time. I mean, for fuck's sake, I've seen this post by IGN over on Facebook saying that it's the best game of all time, and that is the biggest load of bullshit I have ever seen. Now, this sparked up a lot of interest in me because I do not believe this to be genuine at all. But with the posts I've been seeing about this game over on Twitter, over on Facebook, and on YouTube, with people praising this game to high heaven, and then there's people shitting on it, and there's people having decent criticism about the game, which I feel is the right way to go about it. Now, I've seen a video by Griffin Gaming the other day, which he did a full-on review of it. It was like an hour long, and I think he did a really good job. But then he goes on to make another video talking about its biggest glaring problems, and then something that happened with the Middle Eastern version of this game. Let's go and check out what Griffin has to say.
But I do want to check out this thread on Reddit, because in the Middle Eastern version of this game, all of the mention of anything related to the LGBT, all the missions, all the dialogue, all the side activities, you name it, the flags, decorations throughout the environment, all of that shit is completely missing from the game. Like, it never even existed in the first place. You don't have the option to engage with dialogue with those NPCs. They give you the LGBT-oriented quest line, where you have to help the high school kid ask out his gay boyfriend. Like, that's what I mean. None of this stuff actually has any importance to the overall story, and is literally just there to virtue signal, to the point where they can literally just remove all that shit from the game, and it's like it doesn't even matter. Nobody cares, because it doesn't make any difference to the overarching plot. It's literally just there to score ESG points and promote the typical propaganda we see from a lot of these California game devs, especially in the case of Insomniac with the Spider-Man franchise. Like, this game is comically woke at times, guys. Like, you know, I mentioned this in my review, but there's literally a scene in the game where like a 90-pound blonde chick is beating the shit out of like a 200-pound muscular guy. Like, that would ever fucking happen.
And I can kind of agree with Griffin on this one, just because it feels like this kind of stuff is forced onto these games, and in other media as well. It's not just video games, but I don't mind it being there so much, but when it feels forced, it's not good for the overarching story of the game. And weirdly enough, in the Middle Eastern version, they pulled all that stuff out, only because their beliefs over there are completely different to everyone in the West. And they know for a fact that the game wouldn't sell well there. And you know that Sony wants to make as much money as they can out of this game. But it's just funny to me that Insomniac Games actually made two versions of this game just to appeal to the whole world. I mean, what the hell are we when we have to change the story narrative just to appeal to some crowd or the other? But like I said, for me, I'm not fussed. My opinions of the game are completely different, even though I haven't played it, but for some reason, there's just something about the game that doesn't appeal to me enough for me to go and spend £70 on it. One is that I've heard the game is quite short, and two is more of the same of what we just had in the past. So I'll probably wait for the PC release of this, and wait till it's polished as well, because at the moment the game seems to be pretty buggy on the PlayStation 5. There's been clips floating around there. Obviously some of them are forced by Xbox fanboys, and I can understand that, don't get me wrong. But there is one man that is a complete PlayStation fanboy that has pointed this out, and you know what? I can honestly say I believe every word he says, because he massively simped for Spider-Man 1 and Miles Morales. And that is none other than the amazing Lucas. Now, if the amazing Lucas is talking bad about a PlayStation game, you know it's bad. except for the time he wanted a refund on Returnal just because he wasn't that good at the game, and they had some issues at the beginning which his complaints were warranted. But I think the amazing Lucas here has a good point. I think overall he had an hour-long review of Spider-Man 2, and overall he says he enjoys the game, but he does point out the really bad parts of the game, which is the bugs, and he has a lot to say about them. So Lucas, the floor is yours.
And there is some ugly. I know you may think there is no ugly, but best believe this game has some ugly, all right? And I talked about the ugly a little bit in the bad. When it comes to the ugly, one thing that I think is honestly, it's telling of the gaming industry. It's telling of the reviewers out there. And that is, I've looked at countless reviews of this game, and not once, not a single damn time did I hear a reviewer tell me this game has bugs.
Well, Lucas, have you ever stopped and thought to yourself that there's a huge media bias towards Sony products within the gaming industry? A lot of people have started to notice it more and more often these days, and genuinely, the media bias is very, very telling these days. And I can't wait to the Game Awards this year, because I know for a fact Spider-Man's going to be nominated for literally everything, except for anything that's indie game, obviously. But it will be interesting to see what happens at the Game Awards. Even though this wasn't the highest scoring game this year, I've got a strong feeling in my head that they're going to try everything they can at the Game Awards to make this win as many categories as possible. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be Game of the Year, because it definitely looks like it doesn't deserve it. To me, it's probably Baldur's Gate 3 that deserves it, but my personal choice this year so far is Liza P, and we'll see how that goes. It'll be interesting to watch it all unfold. The media bias towards Sony games is absolute bullshit.
Not once. Everyone was saying this is the greatest Spider-Man game ever. Oh, it's perfect, it's flawless, it's amazing, yada, yada, yada. I didn't hear not one reviewer tell me this game has bugs. And I think that is disgusting. I think that's evil. I think that's wicked. Because you're hyping people up for an experience that's not the real experience. This game is buggy hell, okay? And I'm not talking about like, you know, because if you've ever done playtesting, you understand there's tiers to the bugs. There are game-breaking bugs which need to be addressed immediately, and there's less, you know, there's less serious or critical bugs where it's like, we can still ship with that, right? We can ship with a bug like that. It's not game-breaking. There are game-breaking bugs in this game, okay? I defy you to play the game without experiencing any bugs.
What's happened to the biggest PlayStation fanboy probably in the world? This is the amazing Lucas telling us a Sony product has shipped really bad. Now, to me, this is a good thing. I like that Lucas is coming out and being honest about this game, because it tells me, as a consumer, do not go and buy this game yet because it's full of bullshit bugs. Which I can thank Lucas for this one, because usually we're all out here to make fun out of Lucas, but this time Lucas is doing something good and actually criticising the game the way it should be criticised. And for one thing, a game should ship with the least amount of bugs possible. When there's game-breaking bugs, it shouldn't ship at all. And I can agree with Lucas there. But to me, this game feels like Insomniac is tired. Tired of carrying Sony, because they are the only ones that are shipping out games at the moment as first-party Sony titles. I feel sorry for the staff at Insomniac Games, because they are honestly working day and night to get these games out of the door. And they've got Wolverine as their next project. And from what I've seen of Spider-Man 2 so far, it shows. It's showing that Insomniac Games are tired of carrying Sony, and God knows how long they're going to do it for neither.
This is beyond unacceptable. I know I've used that word countless times, but it needs to be said. This is a no-no. This is disgusting. This is the first time I've experienced this amount of bugs, such copious bugs in an Insomniac game. I didn't have this in any of the Ratchet and Clank games. I didn't have this in Miles Morales, and I sure as hell didn't have this in Spider-Man 1. I don't know what the hell was going on. Maybe they were rushing this game, which would make sense given the story. But this is unfreaking acceptable.
And that's what it probably was. Rushed out the door to get it ready for Game of the Year. And the fact that Sony didn't have a first-party title to show this year at all. Only third-party titles. Now what the hell has Sony become when they can only push out one first party title a year? And these fanboys keep capping for Sony, like they've got the most games going. Xbox has had more first party titles than Sony this year. That's saying a lot, because Xbox normally has jack shit to show. And this is why I play video games on PC, because we have a plethora of games there that we can choose from. And we don't care who the company is, as long as the game is good.
A whole bunch of bugs where I'm turning into a cube. The game is crashing. There was one point where I got a superpower and it was telling me to hit the button for the superpower. I hit it and nothing happened. The game froze. I had to restart it. There was so many bugs like that. It was like the game glitching, where it's during cutscenes and the game it glitches and I don't get to see the animation. It's like, what the hell? Whole bunch of bugs that are ugly and game breaking. Unfreaking acceptable from a first party exclusive AAA game. There's no excuses, bro. No excuses.
Now we can see that Sony aren't immune to having buggy, messy launches with their games. Now to start with, I was actually on the fence about talking about the bugs in Spider-Man, because it did look like a lot of Xbox fanboys were just trying their best and going out of their way to make this game look buggy. But with the amazing Lucas coming out there and saying this game broke on him basically by having game-breaking bugs and making it unplayable at some points, it says a lot. And even MBG, I was going to include him in this video, but I couldn't be asked. MBG was trying to defend this game tooth and nail and didn't say a bad thing about this game. Dreamcast guy was another one, gave the game a 10 out of 10, as he would, because it's a Sony title. He thought, I'm going to give it the best score going, and it's the best game of all time by the sounds of it to these people. And with the IGN article saying it could be the best game of all time, that is complete bullshit. The other games weren't even nowhere near my top 100. I mean, Spider-Man 1 for the PS4 was pretty decent, but I would put it nowhere near the top 100 games of all time. Not a fucking chance. But I would like to hear what you guys think. Have you played the game? What do you think of it? Have you had bugs? Have you experienced any? What do you think of the story? What do you think about all the woke stuff that Insomniac wants to insert into there? And weirdly enough, they didn't release that version in the Middle East. I would like to hear your comments below. Like I said, I don't really give a shit. I don't plan on purchasing this game until the PC release. As long as Nixie's does a good job of that one, I don't really care. And I'm probably going to wait for a sale too. I don't feel like I'm in a rush to play this game at all. I'm having loads of fun with Mario Wonder, Lords of the Fallen, and I'm trying to platinum some other games on the PC. Now that'll do it for me. Press like, comment, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and I will see you in the next one.